Hey, it's me, the Northern Lights. People say that it's hard to see me. It's a bit unpredictable whether or not I will be out on any given night. But if you are hoping to increase the odds, there's no study saying that it isn't beneficial to listen to an episode of this podcast. Before we continue my first ever journey through the Harry Potter series, just a few quick announcements. Inspired by that intro, yes, I'm coming to you live from Finland. Finland! I'm finally here. The prophecy has become truth. I'm doing a sold-out Potterless show here. I am so excited. Also doing a TNO show. There are still tickets available, so if you're in Finland and you want to see me do a live podcast, you can go and get tickets to that. And if you live anywhere in Germany, you can also get tickets to the Berlin show. I believe we've sold out of the second Munich show. Shout out to Germany for selling out a whole bunch of shows. That's super cool, but we should still have tickets to Berlin available at potterlesspodcast.com/live. And that is just about it for the European tour. The shows have been so much fun so far. Shout out to everybody who has come to the shows and everyone that I've got to meet and all the people who've gotten to speak with Kelly at the merch table and everything, and people who've given us gifts and said nice things and posted nice things. And it's just been such a delight. And to round out the tour by doing Helsinki and then another Helsinki show and 2 Berlin shows and 2 Munich shows is going to be such a delight. And I hope to return to Europe in the future, to some of the cities I wasn't able to visit to. And I would love to tour to other places, other continents that I have not done live shows yet. And speaking of other continents, I will be doing shows in North America later this year. And I intentionally said North America because I'm doing shows in the US and also in Canada, our first ever Canadian shows. So on Friday, March 31st, tickets for the following shows should go live. May 24th in Seattle, Washington, May 26th in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, June 14th in Cleveland, Ohio, June 16th in Detroit, Michigan, and June 18th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So those all will be live at potterlesspodcast.com/live. Except for the Seattle show, because that's just going to be the News Olympian. I might still put the link up live, but that's the only TNO show. All those other shows I just mentioned will be half the News Olympian and half Potterless. Now, if you can't make it to any of these shows, but you want to experience some sort of live show experience more than just the episodes that I've been putting on the feed, you can get digital versions of past live shows. If you go to potterlesspodcast.com/merch, we don't have any more physical merch, but we do have digital merch. And some of the digital merch items include past live show replays, whether it was stream shows that I did during COVID times or digital video replays of shows like we did a show in Philadelphia recently. And there's also some Potterless live shows up for free on the YouTube. If you just search for Potterless on YouTube, you'll find it there. It's also youtube.com/@Potterless. But there's a whole bunch of stuff you can get online. There's also the Potterless Patreon that you can still get access to at patreon.com/Potterless. And for just $4 a month, you get access to everything I ever posted on the Potterless Patreon for the 5 years that the show is weekly. Now let's get into what this actual episode is about. This is a live show that Johnny and I did in March of 2022. It was the first show back that we did from doing tours. We had to shut down touring in late 2021 because that's when Omicron came around. Wasn't that fun, everybody? And this was a show in Nashville, Tennessee in March of 2022. It was a small little intimate venue, but it was a really fun show. We did a bracket to determine the best food in the Harry Potter world, and it got very interesting and it took some unexpected turns, and the Q&A was really fun. So it's a blast. I think you will enjoy this show. And without further ado, here's Johnny Frohlichstein and I live from Nashville determining what the best food is in the wizarding world.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Potterless Live. How you guys feeling? Good. All right. Good. Thank you so much for coming. I'm very excited to be here in the Music City. It is my second time ever being here. Both times have been for podcasting related things. I've never been here for anything fun that you guys do here, like watch the Titans and the Predators. Yeah, look at me go. And the Nashville Sounds minor league baseball team. The only thing I know about Nashville is sports and music. Okay, well, we are here not to talk about sports or music. We're here, as you could tell by the murmurings when I said sports stuff, we're here to talk about books. So let's get to that. We have a very important decision to make tonight. Nashville's a big food town, I know. And I was, thrown many recommendations for hot chicken places to eat at today. Don't worry, we ate hot chicken. We also got biscuits and gravy. It was great. These foods are real life foods that exist. But today, we want to determine what is the best food/drink in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Now, I'm not going to be doing this alone. I'm going to be joined by a guest. So everyone welcome to the stage. The best man in my wedding is Johnny Frohlichstein.
Hello, hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. Whoever those guys were at the merch table earlier were pretty cool.
They were pretty sweet. I like them. Yeah. They seem very humble too, like a bunch of nice guys that wouldn't,
Very humble.
Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy your hot chicken that you ate today?
I enjoyed my hot chicken, except I was trying to eat it while I was on a work call, and I didn't have any water, and I had like 4 bites, and then I couldn't do anything until I got water, and so it was a pretty unproductive work call.
Well, let's have a productive discussion about food that certainly exists in the real world.
Well, we wouldn't do that if we had hot chicken right here, so it's a good thing we don't.
Yeah, that would be fun if there's some sort of challenge where you had to still try to do it, but also eat hot chicken along the way, and you could see Johnny's brain fry in real time.
If only that existed on YouTube.
So we're here in March, and this is the time where we do this. It doesn't even matter the month, but now it's thematically relevant, where we will be doing a bracket to determine what is the best food/drink. So the boring one, run by the NCAA, which is a bad institution that doesn't pay people their worth, is March Madness. So instead, we'll be doing March Mania, which is totally different, and the NCAA can't sue us. And March Mania is to determine what is the best food/drink in the Harry Potter universe. So, in true bracket form, we've broken it down into 4 separate quadrants, and because of the way things work, we were actually able to separate them by types of food. So first, in the Gryffindor section, because there are a bunch of bros that like to drink, we have the drinks. So those are in terms of seed order, or should we just, we'll keep it as a surprise for the matchup. So we've got the drinks. The other section for Ravenclaw, because they're a bunch of nerds, is the savory foods, because they know how to cook and bake and all that good stuff. Then we've got the candy section, which is Slytherin, because of course candy is bad for you, and so is being racist. And then we've got the Hufflepuff section. Hufflepuff is sweet. Oh, wow, a big Hufflepuff crowd tonight. We got the Hufflepuff section, and they're just the sweets, because Hufflepuff's a bunch of sweeties. So those are the sections we've got. Now, the first round, what we're just going to do is we're just going to have a head-to-head matchup. We're going to determine which one we think is better. In this first round, just because we have a lot of things to get through, Johnny and I are going to be doing most of the discussing of this, but all of the later rounds involve audience participation, applause-o-meter, all that good stuff. So let us get through the chunky one first, and then you can get in the mix to help us make all of the decisions. So let's get right to it. So the first matchup in the drinks quadrant is between the number 1 seed, butterbeer, obviously, and the number 8 seed, the punch that you have to drink in the cave that makes you relive the worst memories you've ever had. 1 minute on the clock. Which one do you think is a better drink?
Well, okay.
Just to play devil's advocate.
How are we defining better? Because I sort of think butterbeer is like the Bud Light of the Wizarding World. And the cave punch is like the acid trip gone wrong of the Wizarding World. And I don't know which of those is better. I don't know what we mean when we say better. I'm just playing devil's advocate, that's all. Because, people never use that as a cover to say really shitty things.
If we were in Chicago, this would have played really well to say that the cave punch is the Malort of the drinks. I don't know if anyone has had the pleasure or torment of drinking Malort, depending on how your taste buds function, but it's some rough stuff. Much like the cave punch. I feel like butterbeer is the clear winner here, although cave punch is very funny, and we did laugh quite a bit when you thought of adding it on the list.
Have you had the butterbeer at Universal?
I've had all of it before, because I've gone to Universal using this cool trick where I send them an email and I go, "Hi, I host the most popular Harry Potter podcast that is out there. Can I go for free and I'll talk about it?" And they go, "Yes." And I've done that 3 times. But it was okay. One was in the Orlando one, and then one was the California one, and then the Orlando one, they made the Hagrid ride. And I was like, "Oh, last time I went, the Hagrid ride didn't exist. Can I go?" And they were like, "Sure, this doesn't cost us anything." So yeah, I've had hot, warm, I've had hot, I've had cold, and then I've had frozen. And my rankings are hot, and then frozen, and then cold. Because cold is good, but then you're just paying $8 for cream soda with a little bit of the butterscotch foam on top. At least with the frozen, it's a fun slush. But the hot is really nice. And then in the book, they say it makes you feel warm inside, so it feels more apt.
Got it. Okay, we can move on.
We can move
all my
on.
Questions answered.
Butterbeer goes on. So now we have a matchup between the 4 seed and the 5 seed. The 4 seed is Madame Puttyfoot's tea, and number 5 is Elf-Made Wine. Now, you did some research on the Elf-Made Wine, so why don't you let us know your findings?
So, in the best scene in all 7 of the books, which is when Slughorn and Hagrid get wasted, they're drinking elf-made wine. But in the scene where they make the unbreakable vow, they're also drinking elf-made wine, which means you can go classy or you can go trashy. So I'm on team elf-made wine here.
Yeah, Madame Puttyfoot's tea, I do love a good cup of tea. I was very sad that there wasn't a description of what type of tea it was, just that it was good and romantic and all of that stuff.
Well, I associate like the worst Tinder date with Madame Puttyfoot's tea because that's what happened there, right?
What is the worst Tinder date you've ever been on?
We'd be here a while.
Okay. Or at least the location, some short version.
Well, I had a Tinder date when I was living in Houston with somebody who every time we had a mutual interest, she would like offer to high five me. So we high fived like 8 times over the course of our drinks. Yeah. We did not see each other again.
I don't blame you. Okay, I think Elf-Made Wine goes on because that is some pretty cool stuff. And we love a drunk Hagrid, don't we? Okay, now we get the matchup between the number 3 seed and the number 6 seed. The number 3 seed is Pumpkin Juice / Pumpkin Fizz, because sometimes they have juice, sometimes they have fizz. I assume it's like Europe rules of still or sparkling. And the number 6 seed is Madame Trelawney's Sherry Wine that she tries to keep secret. What was the context of the sherry wine?
She was trying to hide it.
Right.
Because she likes to drink it, but doesn't want people to know she likes to drink it. And that was when she heard Malfoy celebrating in the Room of Requirement in Book 6.
Okay.
Boom.
Mm-hmm. Now, pumpkin juice, pumpkin fizz, I've never had it. I'm not a big pumpkin guy. I personally think pumpkin's overrated, but not in the way where, like, I think it's a cool personality trait to make fun of pumpkin spice lattes, because if you like them, sure, have a drink, but I just personally don't enjoy pumpkin-flavored things. What are your pumpkin thoughts?
Pumpkin spice lattes. I'm on team pumpkin juice / fizz here, although it's only called that if it's from the pumpkin region of Hogwarts.
Right. Otherwise, it's sparkling pumpkin. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I feel like pumpkin juice is far more iconic, at least in terms of you can get it at the Wizarding World, and also they mention it a bunch of times in the books. Very often they have goblets full of it. So
I think that's our winner.
Cool. All right. So pumpkin juice moves on. And now we go to the number 2 seed, Fire Whiskey, and the number 7 seed, another liquor, but this one's Poisoned Mead from Slughorn, which I don't think I've ever had regular mead. Have you?
I have.
What is it similar to? What kind of drink? I don't even know what ballpark it's in.
I think it's technically like honey wine. Is that right? I don't know if that's...
All right. Guy in the front row with a beard is nodding, so I feel very confident about that guy. That's a trusted source. Okay, yeah. Is mead tasty enough that if it's poisoned, it's better than cinnamon whiskey? Because I very much like cinnamon whiskey, but not Fireball because I'm not 19 anymore.
Oh, I was going to say...
Oh, sorry, 21 anymore.
Doesn't cinnamon whiskey come with antifreeze, so isn't it also poisoned?
I remember when I was working for my French-based engineering company and I did 6 months in France, someone asked me about Fireball once and they were like, is that not the stuff that has the antifreeze in it? And I was like, yeah, but it's America, whatever. But no, Fireball is trash. But I did have a very good run where Jack Daniels made Jack Daniels Fire, and I was very into that from ages 22 to 22 when I lived in Houston with 2 other roommates who liked it. So I think Fire Whiskey is the winner here. I have had the Fire Whiskey at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and it is very tasty. So that would be my vote. Also, you don't have to, get a Bazor shoved down your throat after drinking it.
I think the word poisoned is disqualifying here.
Okay, so Fire Whiskey moves on, and we are done with the drinks. We will now move on to the savory section. So the number 1 seed is the feast from the sorting ceremony in Book 1. And something I learned today by reading a bunch of Harry Potter stuff about food is that J.K. Rowling just blew the entire load on the description of this first feast, and then in every other book, she just wrote, and you can check in the book, she just wrote, the food was good, as always, and that is it. Like, nothing gets described in such vivid detail as the first feast. But the first feast is, quote, roast beef, roast chicken, pork chops and lamb chops, sausages, bacon and steak, boiled potatoes, roast potatoes, fries, Yorkshire pudding, peas, carrots, gravy, ketchup, and peppermint humbugs. An incredible feast.
You want to tell me what a peppermint humbug is?
I want to, but I can't because I don't know what it is. And what was funny is in the exact text for that, it says, and for some reason, peppermint humbugs. Like, we're supposed to know what that is? And I'm pretty sure that's not a British thing. But if it is, you can let me know. But I don't think that's like an actual thing. And I don't know what makes it and for some reason. Once you eat a bunch of meat and stuff, I love an after-dinner mint or gum or something like that.
Peppermint humbug.
Or a peppermint humbug. I don't know.
What Scrooge calls
I was
mints.
going to say, is it like a mint that makes you like really grumpy after you're like, wow, this food was delicious. Oh, if you have unrefined taste. So that's the 1 seed. The 8 seed is Nearly Headless Nick's Death Day Feast, which is a feast, but a little bit different. Because what is offered at this feast is large rotten fish, cakes burned to be charcoal black, maggoty haggis, a slab of cheese covered in furry green mold, and a cake in the shape of a tombstone.
It's crazy they had all my favorite foods at that feast.
Right, and maggoty haggis is my favorite member of the Wu Tang Clan, so that does give me a little bit of points there, but I feel like the feast in book 1 is going to be a tough one to dethrone.
Yeah, the Death Day Feast is barely food, and this is supposed to be best food, so I think it's got to be book 1.
All right, so now we'll move on to the 4 and the 5 seed. The 4 seed is dragon meat, which we hear a lot about, but I don't know if anyone ever eats it that is a human. I know Hagrid feeds it to the pets, and then I think they do the classic thing from the Sandlot where you put it over someone's bruise to reduce swelling, but that's a 4 seed. And then the number 5 seed is gillyweed, which is eaten and doesn't taste good, but it does have great benefits, like eating your vegetables. So how are you feeling about these two?
Have you ever tried like alligator? I've never tried
Yes.
How is it? Because I feel like that's our barometer here, because I feel like that's probably the closest thing to dragon meat.
Alligator is very good. The first time I had it, I had very recently moved to Texas from New Jersey, and I had all these preconceived notions about what Texas was. And we went to the rodeo, which checked all of those preconceived notion boxes. And at the rodeo, there's just a huge tent of all the different food, and they have a bunch of wild things. And I saw a big sign way down at the end, and it said fried alligator on a stick. And I said, yes. And I got it, and it was very good. It's a little bit spicy. They put breading. It's honestly not that different from getting fried chicken, because it's mostly about the breading stuff. And then when I worked at Papado's Seafood Kitchen, that was one of the appetizers, and people would get it, and very often, if people were from out of town, they'd be like, ooh, fried alligator, what's it like? And then I would, in my brain, say, it's fried chicken, but more expensive, so you should order it. But I would just say, oh, it's fun. It's like chicken, but a little gamier. And then people would be like, let's do it.
Gamier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's one of those words that you can describe food and no one really knows what it means. Like, we all pretend to. No one really knows. You kind of, and then people go, oh, yeah. Which, nobody knows.
Well, here's the other thing about dragon meat is that it implies the existence of a dragon butcher. And imagine going to the dragon butcher and being like, what do you got for me today? He's like, oh, we got a prime horntail cut and a Welsh green and it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, let me put this in my sous vide. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to give I'll let you decide here. I think the edge for dragon meat is that it feels more like food, but the edge to gillyweed is that they do actually eat it in the books. So of the two, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm on team dragon meat. I think gillyweed is functional more than it is food. It's like it's like those protein cubes, where they don't taste like anything.
It's like a thing of Soylent or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, the number 3 seed now is pumpkin pasties, which I don't know if J.K. Rowling was supported by Big Pumpkin, but there's lots of pumpkin things.
Big pumpkin, big Charlie
big
Brown
old pumpkin. And then the 3 seed pumpkin pasties, the number 6 seed, the bacon and eggs that Harry cooks for the Dursleys in book 1. I love bacon and eggs. I think they're very good. I'm impressed that 11-year-old Harry Potter in a very stressful kitchen could produce this.
How do you know he was 11 years old when he
Because so many people have sent me emails over the years when I messed up Harry's age. We did look up what a pumpkin pasty would be. It feels like an apple turnover, but pumpkin, which feels like nice and flaky and good. Again, I'm not a big pumpkin fan. I do like bacon and eggs, even though I think bacon is very overrated and sausage is the better breakfast meat.
I think you just closed your argument, because I think pumpkin pasties sound delicious. And I think that 11-year-old made bacon and eggs are probably pretty shit.
All right. I take it. I take it a lot. Boom. Okay, pumpkin pasties, move on. And now, the final savory battle is the 2 seed Bouillabaisse from when they make it for the Triwizard Tournament feast for all the French folks from Beauxbaton. Bouillabaisse, if you've never had it, is like a nice French seafood stew. It's very good.
You showed me a picture of it, and I still don't know what it is.
I have only eaten it in France, so my standards are very high, but it was very tasty. The 7 seed is quite the powerhouse. It's Ron's 4 corned beef sandwiches that he brought onto the train in book 1. And they were taken out of a, quote, lumpy bag. So that's what we've got. And Ron does say that Molly forgets that he doesn't like corned beef. So it is 4 sandwiches from a lumpy bag that Ron doesn't enjoy. Or French seafood stew.
I have to say corned beef because I grew up with a Jewish father who would disown me if I didn't pick the deli meat that we often went to go get at the Jewish deli.
Yeah, I think my Irish ancestors would also be mad at me for not picking corned beef, but I personally want to give the edge to the seafood stew.
To the
bouillabaisse, or it's probably, I would get, the French people can send me an email about how I'm saying it wrong.
You're probably right.
Okay, cool, we're gonna go.
That's a meal versus like half of a lunch.
They didn't say this, but I did imagine that it's wrapped in, not a plastic bag, but like wrapped in saran wrap, which just always makes a sandwich more sad. Like in terms of wrapping things, like even in tinfoil, it's better, but just something about the clear cling film wrap around a sandwich, just like, I don't want to eat
and then they have nowhere to put the trash for the rest
and then
of the train ride.
And if it's a peanut butter and jelly, there's like, it's been squished out because it's in your bag. Yeah, no. Okay, so now we're moving on to the candy section of Slytherin. So the number 1 seed of candy is Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans. Number 8 is Acid Pops, which Ron did describe as he had one as a kid and it burnt a hole in his tongue. So if you're trying to get a cool tongue piercing, great. Otherwise, I don't think it's so great.
I had an acid pop at Bonnaroo, and let me tell you, made me feel some kind of way. It's my second LSD joke. I don't think acid pops sound good at all, and I think the upside of Bertie Bott's is better than the guaranteed downside of acid pops.
And as someone who ate Bertie Bott's beans on Potterless, the podcast, even some of the bad flavors are kind of good. Earwax actually tastes pretty good. Earwax, the fake produced bean, not literal earwax.
Can you please give us your thoughts on literally earwax? How it tastes?
I've not eaten it, but I'm a very earwaxy boy to the point where I've had the thing happen multiple times where like my ear gets like completely like closed and it's like really scary and terrifying. One time it happened on Kelly and I's honeymoon and it was not very fun at all. We were putting like hydrogen peroxide and salt drops and all this stuff in my ear to try to break it out. Not a good time when you just like can't hear out of half of your body. I have waxy ears. So I did.
I asked.
So now we can go on. This is between the 4 seed and the 5 seed. The 4 seed is jelly slugs, and the 5 seed is pepper imps. Pepper imps are basically a cooler version of hot tamales. You eat them, and then you breathe fire for a little bit, which I think sounds very cool. Even though I'm not a big spicy candy person, I have had the jelly slugs that like you can get from the Harry Potter produced candies, and they're just kind of like your standard, like a Swedish fishy type gummy thing. They were tasty, but I think pepper imps are a little more fun. That's where I stand.
Oh, I'm definitely on team pepper imps, and I love spicy candy. In the 8th grade, I had a teacher named Mrs. Longnecker, which is a great name.
Pretty good.
And when you returned from lunch, you were allowed 1 atomic fireball, and that was the only candy option in the whole class. So we all had them on the first day, and they wrecked us. And then by the end of the semester, we were like crushing atomic fireballs every day. So definitely team pepper imps.
My fun experience with spicy candies is Kelly's family has some interesting Thanksgiving traditions, and one of them is in their cranberry sauce, they put Red Hots in there. Which I don't know if that's a thing anywhere else aside from the Beckman household. Yeah. It weirdly works really well. It's strange.
A little sweet heat energy?
Yeah, basically. Good. And like you put them in and with the cranberry sauce, they kind of like disintegrate a little and soften up. It's, if you're bored and you want to spice up the cranberry sauce game, get some Red Hots. And if you don't like it, blame Kelly. So now we've got the 3 seed and the 6 seed. The 3 seed is Fizzing Whizbees, and the 6 seed is Sugar Quills. My research from what I was reading here is sugar quills are what they sound like. They're just sugared stuff like rock candy, but shaped like a quill. But apparently you can write with them, which is kind of fun. Fizzing Whizbees were like very cool jawbreaker type things that like buzz about when you put them in your mouth.
It's like a jawbreaker pop rock.
Oh, yeah. I mean, on that description alone, I want to give the edge to Fizzing Whizbees.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. They talk about in the book with sugar quills how you can like pretend it's a real one and like like chew on it during class and like make it seem like you're thinking, but you're really just enjoying your sugar quill. And I kind of respect that, but Jawbreaker Pop Rocks I think is too good to beat.
Cool. All right, now the final candy matchup is between my personal favorite, tooth flossing string mints, and licorice wands, which is just, I guess, licorice? Like,
Fuck
I don't
licorice.
like, it's just,
Licorice.
licorice is already kind of wand shaped. The one licorice I do have to defend because I did make fun of it on Potterless, the podcast, but then I was corrected. Soft Australian chewing licorice is really good. And if you go to a grocery store that is fancy enough, or you order it from the internet, you can get it, and it's very tasty, and it's very different from like your Twizzlers or your Red Vines of the world. It is very good. I gotta at least give love to that. But
well, okay, I'm separating Twizzlers, which I adore, from like actual licorice.
Yeah,
but I think
yeah.
actual licorice is like
right,
good.
it's like how Taco Bell's not Mexican food. Like it says it is, but it's not, but it's still really good and it has its place in time.
But does this Australian licorice taste like licorice?
It tastes like what it was supposed to go for, because like the traditional flavor is the anise flavor, and it's like actually good, which is what black licorice is supposed to be. So it is actually good, but they have it in other flavors. Like I had strawberry and I had mango and I had green apple, and it was very tasty. That being said, if you could put a mint in your mouth and it would floss your teeth, that's unparalleled. Like popping that in before a date, popping it in before an interview, popping it before any sort of situation of do I have something in my teeth? Because the only thing worse than do I have something in my teeth is someone going yes, and then for 5 minutes you go, did I get it? Did I get it? And they go, no. So I think it's not just a candy. I already like mints and stuff, but one that serves a purpose and flosses your teeth, which is very good. And we all hate flossing, right? But we're all supposed to do it. No one likes getting yelled at by your dentist, or no one enjoys like having to lie to your dentist like they're a priest at confession and you're like, yeah, I totally went recently. I've definitely been flossing all of the time. It would be nice to be like, yeah, I have a tooth flossing string mint every night before bed. Way easier.
Also, fuck licorice.
Okay, yeah, and well, on that note, we will give it to the flossing mints. Okay, now the final matchups of round one of the sweets. Number 1, chocolate frogs. Come on, what's not to love? 8 is one that I didn't know of. You pointed out to me, Mrs. Fig's shitty cake. Tell us about Mrs. Fig's shitty cake.
In book 1, she invites Harry over and gives him some cake, and he says it tasted like she'd had it for several years. Which is a great way to describe cake at grandma's house, for what it's worth.
Certainly a big grandma move, because when I would hang out with my friends down at the Jersey Shore in the summers, their grandma had a house.
Your friends Snooki and Pauly D and those folks at the Jersey Shore?
Yes. Well, no joke. I was there when they filmed it. Like, I saw the house. My friends live like a couple-minute drive from it, and I definitely talked about this in the podcast before, but it was like, we saw the big boards around the house where they were filming, and it was like, filming an upcoming MTV show. And we're like, what show are they filming in Seaside Heights, New Jersey? And then I moved to Texas, and then Jersey Shore came out, and everyone at high school knew me as the new kid from New Jersey, and that was a tough couple of months for 14-year-old Mike Schubert.
With his bowl cut?
Oh yeah, his big old bowl cut he had going on. He was very cool. My friend's grandma lived very close. We would go, and she would like stock her fridge with snacks and stuff if we wanted to go when we were, going to the beach and stuff. And her fridge had some fresh snacks, and then also some Cokes that expired in the year 1998. So definitely a big grandma move. I mean, chocolate frogs are just top tier. You're getting good food. They sometimes jump away from you, so it's a fun challenge. And then you get a cool card that also obeys the rules of portraits sometimes when the plot remembers that in the series.
The card that you get is almost like an NFT, but in the real world.
Oh, boo. Oh, God. Boo, 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 boo. And on that terrible note, we will move on. Gosh, I think the thing that has aged the most well of any decision I made is when NFTs were first coming on the scene, is when Potterless was ending, and someone suggested to me, you should make NFTs of things you did in Potter, so you can do like an audio NFT of you saying Wizard On. And I was like, I don't know, these sound kind of sketchy. And then I didn't do it, and then we all learned about how bad they are. So the next matchup is between the 4-seed McGonagall's biscuits that she gives to Harry after he has a tough time with Professor Umbridge, and number 5, the pudding that Dobby drops intentionally in book 2.
The way that she offers him the biscuits is just too perfect. You got to describe it. It's just like so good.
I mean, yeah, he's just had a really rough run-in with Professor Umbridge, and she's basically giving Harry the "you're not wrong, but also you can't yell at a teacher even if she sucks" talk. And then you get the iconic "have a biscuit, Potter" quote, which is good. I do want to make sure we kind of separate the biscuit from the moment, because we don't know how good the cookies are, but still, there's still like a great emotional attachment to them. The pudding that Dobby drops is kind of the flip, where it's like, yes, the pudding was just dropped on an innocent bystander, but it was probably really tasty.
Yeah, and I think the first question we have to answer is, do we think McGonagall baked the biscuits? Because she does kind of have a Mary Berry vibe about her.
Oh, God. Yeah, if anyone was going to play Mary Berry in the Mary Berry biopic, it would be Maggie Smith. Fuck. Yeah, okay. McGonagall's biscuits. Yeah, that's too good.
Wow, I was just asking a question.
No, that's legitimate. There's no question that Mary Berry, like, Prue, I love your necklaces and your outfits, but Mary Berry, top tier. Because she actually stands up to Paul Hollywood when Paul Hollywood's like, oh, this Indian food is too spicy. Like, are you sure you're not just too white, Paul? Mary Berry would be like, no, Paul, I disagree. Where Prue just always compliments sandwiches. She's always like, nice thing, bad thing, nice thing for everyone. So I'm more team Mary Berry. But I do love Noel, and I do. Yeah. If there was a way to make it Noel and Mel, I feel like that would have. And if you want that, everybody watch Taskmaster Series 4 because the two of them are on it, and it's great, perfect television. They're not paying me to say this, but they should. Number 3 seed now, Honeyduke's chocolate. This is the chocolate that Lupin gives to Harry, you know, when you almost die from the Dementors. And then number 6 is Skiving snack boxes, which are not necessarily good as a sweet, but they do serve a purpose.
Yeah, I'm definitely on Team Chocolate here.
Right.
Every time I've ever watched the third movie and they play that scene where he gives him the chocolate, the sound that chocolate makes me crave chocolate more than I've ever craved it in my life, because it's like clearly been frozen somehow, even though they're on a train, and it's like, oh my God, that chocolate sounds so good.
Did it get frozen because the Dementors make everything so cold?
Oh, shit! It was on purpose!
And also, could you do your best Foley work imitation of someone crunching into the chocolate?
My best what?
Foley work. It's the term for making noises and stuff to sound like things.
Wow, this is horrible.
I'm a professional podcaster.
I tried it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I bet my audio cleanup software probably deleted it for the folks at home because they were like, that's a mouth sound. Okay. Yeah, I feel like Honeyduke's chocolate, mad respect to Fred and George, but I don't really necessarily. I've never been like, you know what I'd love to do right now? Throw up. So I'll go with Honeyduke's chocolate.
I would have loved to have had those in like the 6th grade, though, when I tried to get sick literally every day because I hated school.
See, maybe it was just because the schools that I went to were really hard, but honestly, being sick was more of a chore than missing out on school, because then I would still have to do all the same homework or take the same test, but then I missed a day of learning. Or maybe I'm just a giant nerd.
Oh, well, I liked the school part of school. I hated the interacting with literally anyone.
Okay. Okay, and then our final matchup here of the first round, the number 2 seed, cauldron cakes / chocolate cauldrons. So either a cake version like a lava cake, or it's just made out of chocolate instead. Or the number 7 seed, Hagrid's rock cakes, which they don't ever describe, but I feel like the name lets you know what you're in for.
Yeah, you're going to need some of that floss string after you have a rock cake.
Or new teeth.
Yeah. Whenever I read cauldron cakes, I think of like, it's just a Hostess cupcake, but in the wizarding world, which is like kind of meh. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like the rock cakes are made with love at the very least.
Right, but just because someone makes something with love doesn't mean it tastes good. Like, just because it's homemade doesn't mean it's automatically good. When I think of cauldron cakes, I always think of like lava cakes that have the hot chocolate in the middle, which is either like really good, you get it at a nice fancy restaurant, or you're at the Rainforest Cafe and you get one of those and then they, bang some sort of gong or whatever they do.
I feel like as a rule, the more family friendly the restaurant, the better the chocolate lava cake is likely to be. Like, it's like Rainforest Cafe is probably the best, and then there's like the Chili's one, which is like really good, and then like all the restaurants that we all hate are like the worst lava cakes. That's my guess. I have no idea if it's true.
I mean, I think it's valid because it is the most like, it is just marketing to children to be like, this is what the children will be asking their parents for. So yeah, I think that holds true. But yeah, I think cauldron cakes. All right, so that concludes round 1. We've done it, folks. Woo! Now we can get into the spicier rounds. So, round 2 here, we will be putting a challenge on ourselves so that it's not just the same thing for 2 hours. What we're going to be doing here is we put a restriction on ourselves where one of Johnny and I will be defending one of the 2 things, and you only have 10 total words to defend the thing that you are arguing on behalf of. So the first matchup that we have here is in the drink quadrant, and it is between butter beer and elf-made wine. What would you like to defend, Johnny?
I will do elf-made wine.
Okay, hit me with it, and then I will defend butterbeer.
Want to cry and sing with friends? Elf-made wine.
That's like the official tagline. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's on the bottle.
Let's see. Makes me feel warm, slightly alcoholic, and I'm only 12. All right, so now you all get in the mix. If you think that elf-made wine should move on, make some noise. Okay, if you think butterbeer should move on, make some noise. Elf-made wine with the upset. All right, cool. Okay, great. Elf-made wine has surpassed. All right, the next matchup is between pumpkin juice / pumpkin fizz or the fire whiskey.
I feel like I got to be on Team Pumpkin here. I've been
Okay,
Team
yeah.
Pumpkin all night.
Cool.
You want to go ahead?
I'll go ahead with fire whiskey. Okay. Whiskey is great. Spicy food is great. Spicy whiskey.
Leaves changing colors. Uggs. Vests. Instagram shoots. Pumpkin juice.
/ fizz.
Yeah.
Was that just the words to White Woman's Instagram by Bo Burnham?
How did you know?
Okay, if you think that fire whiskey should move on, make some noise. All right, if you think that pumpkin juice / fizz should move on, make some noise. I think fire whiskey.
Yeah.
All right, fire whiskey is moving on. Okay, and and people that wear plaid crumble in the ether. So now onto the savory matchup. We've got the Sorting Hat Feast and Dragon Meat. What would you care to defend?
I will take dragon meat.
Okay, how about you start with Dragon Meat, and then I'll follow with Sorting Feast.
It's gamey. What does that mean? No idea. Dragon meat.
Okay, so I will say roast beef, roast chicken, pork chops, and lamb chop sausages. I've run out of words. So if you think that dragon meat should move on, make some noise. Shout out to the 3 people.
Yeah, it's a little gamey. It's a little too gamey to be moving on.
If you think that the Sorting Feast from Book 1 should move on, make some noise. All right. Sorting Feast advances to the next round. And now we have pumpkin again. We have pumpkin pasties or pumpkin pasties / pumpkin pasties if you're British, or bouillabaisse. I feel like you have to go pumpkin and be
pumpkin,
bouillabaisse.
of course, yep.
Okay. Ratatouille is French stew, but only vegetables. Bouillabaisse has seafood.
Damn. That was like a fucking PhD thesis. Delicious pumpkin-based baked good for pasty white boys. Me.
There was a silent semicolon in there, a colon in there. If you think that bouillabaisse should move on, make some noise. Okay. If you think pumpkin pasties should move on, make some noise. All right, fall has prevailed. Pumpkin pasties
We gotta
made
call
their
them
way.
pumpkin pasties now because they're my pasty white boy treat.
Oh, you're my pasty white boy.
Yeah, I'm a pasty white boy.
All right, going on to the candy. We have Birdie Bot's Every Flavored Beans or Pepper Imps. What would you like to defend?
I will take Birdie Bots.
Okay, I will go with Pepper Imps. Why don't you start with Birdie Bots?
The fuck was that flavor?
Okay, spicy food is fun. Breathing fire is more fun. Pepper Imps.
Pepper Imps.
Pepper Imps, yeah, the apostrophe. If you think that Birdie Bot's Every Flavored Beans should move on, make some noise. Ooh, and if you think that Pepper Imps should move on, make some noise. Okay. I mean,
Another
it makes
upset.
sense. In the hot chicken town, they'd be
Yeah.
like, yes, if I could have the ability to breathe fire after I torture my mouth, that would be perfect. All right, so now we have Fizzing Whizbees against Tooth Flossing String Mints.
I feel like you gotta take floss.
Okay. I'll begin with floss. You went first last time. Okay. After braces, I had to floss. These make flossing better. Real talk, I had really bad inflamed gums and I had to floss a whole lot. And then that's why I floss every single day now because I'm afraid that they'll come back.
Jawbreaker. Pop rocks. Party in my mouth until my teeth break.
If you think that tooth flossing string mints should advance, make some noise. All right. Shout out to my dental hygienist. If you think that fizzing Whizbees should advance, make some noise. They advance. Okay, tooth decay prevails against enamel protection.
Yeah, that was really like a rivalry matchup.
It always seems to work out where sometimes the head-to-heads really, really fit.
Oh, yeah.
All right, final thing of round 2. We've got the sweets section. So chocolate frogs versus McGonagall's biscuits. What would you like to defend?
I will take chocolate frogs.
Okay, I will take McGonagall's biscuits. Why don't you hit us with the argument for chocolate frogs?
Oh, no. This chocolate is jumping away from me. Rats. That was a terrible argument.
Okay. Did you just shit talk a teacher? Have a biscuit, Potter. If you think chocolate frogs should advance, make some noise. Oh, you really you fumbled the bag. If you think McGonagall's biscuits should advance, make some noise. All right. Look
I
at
didn't
this.
do right by chocolate frogs.
It's okay. We got a sappy bunch in the crowd tonight. Just flew out of your hand. Okay, final matchup of round 2. Honeyduke's chocolate or cauldron cakes / chocolate cauldrons. I feel like you would go for Honeyduke's chocolate.
I'll go for the Honeyduke's chocolate.
Okay, I'll begin with cauldron cakes. Sure, it had love potion in it that one time.
Ooh.
I ran out of words.
All right. Feeling down, feeling blue. Dementor here. Try some Honeyduke's chocolate.
Okay, if you think that cauldron cakes should move on, make some noise. Okay, if you think that Honeyduke's chocolate should advance, make some noise. Okay, we've got it. It has been decided. Shout out to Lupin. Okay, so that concludes round 2. And just a quick recap. In the drink section, in the Elite 8, we've got Elf-Made Wine versus Fire Whiskey. In the savory section, we have the Sorting Hat Feast versus Pumpkin Pasties. We've got in the candy section, Pepperimps versus Fizzing Whizbees. And in the sweet section, we have McGonagall's Biscuits versus Honeyduke's Chocolate. Wow, that's a really sentimental one coming up. But, it's time to leave you on the edge of your seats because it's time for the intermission. Hello, it's me, Editing Mike. How's it going, everybody?
Hello, past live Editing Mike. It is me, current, real digital Editing Mike, here for what I'm always here for, Wingardium Adridosa. Talked about stuff like digital merchandise that you can still get at potterlesspodcast.com/merch in the intro. Talked about how you can get access to all the Patreon stuff, everything we ever posted for just $4 a month at patreon.com/potterless. Now, let me tell you, if you aren't listening to some of my other podcasts, you should be. If you liked Potterless or you like Potterless and you are looking for something similar, but you want to be a little more in the current zeitgeist, well, there's no better time than to start listening to my other book-related podcast, The Newest Olympian, which is about the Percy Jackson books, which has a Disney Plus show coming out early next year. So if you want to understand that series before it goes live and you want to be a big old fan and get super hyped for the show, TNO is a great way to listen to it. I am just about done with book 4 episodes. Me, currently, I'm reading book 5 because I'm on tour and I'm pretty far ahead of where the podcast is. But it's been really fun, and there's so many books in the series, and I'm going to probably be making this podcast for like 15 years. So you should come on. It's a good time. It's really fun. I'm having a blast. And if you liked Potterless and you like the Harry Potter books, you're going to love these books. I really, really enjoy the Percy Jackson books. Also, we made a new half season of Meddling Adults. If you go to meddlingadults.com or you search for Meddling Adults wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to 5 brand new episodes from season 4A. I'm so happy that we were able to get the show back. Took us a little bit to get things going there because I took the show fully independent recently, and now it is all situated and sorted, and the first half of season 4 came out, and the episodes were so much fun. You can listen to those, and we're going to do 5 more to complete season 4 towards the fall, like the end of this year. And then ideally we can get back on a schedule where once a year, make a 10-episode season, comes out at the same time, and try to get a bit more of a schedule. But you can check that out. And you can even join the Patreon for that, patreon.com/meddlingadults. And all the proceeds go to charity, which is really cool. We're trying to raise a bunch of money for charity. So help us, help people. Final other new thing that I have going on is a Dungeons and Dragons stream that I do every other week with a bunch of fellow podcasters. It is so much fun. It is such a delight. It's called 20 to Midnight. I talk about it in the end credits of this episode. This mid-roll thing is getting a little long, so you can just listen at the end if you want the details there. But I play a bard, and it's super fun, and it's called 20 to Midnight. We are racing against the clock to save the world. Now, you're going to hear words from a few sponsors who make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of these ads will be read by me. There are some new sponsors that we got, such as Babbel, which is a language learning service. There's also Etsy. You probably know Etsy. You can get a discount if you listen to that Etsy ad. There's some other sponsors that are coming in and out, so you might not want to skip it because you might have some really cool deals in there. But there also might be some ads that are not going to be read by me. Those are inserted locally. So if you live in Finland, you might hear an ad in Finnish. Maybe it's about Moomin. I don't know. But once those ads are complete, we will get back into the second act of this Potterless live show.
So we are here to continue determining what is the best food and drink, and we are now in round 3, which would be the Elite 8. And for round 3, there's more special rules. What we will be doing now is same kind of thing where we'll each defend one thing, but we will be doing an acrostic. And if you're not a kindergartner, an acrostic is when you take the word, like if it was Mike, you would, say magical, ingenious, cool but with a K, eclectic, Mike, huzzah, I've described myself. So that's what we will be doing. Obviously, for some of these with long names, we'll have to pick just like part of it or whatever, but let's get right to it. Now, I don't think you'll be doing this for the full thing, but we've got elf-made wine or fire whiskey. So would you like to acrostic some portion of one of those?
Yeah, I'll do wine. I'll do wine.
Wine, okay, and then I'll go with whiskey. So why don't you kick us off with a sick acrostic?
All right.
Woo! We are in the bachelorette party capital of the world. Woo!
I need energy.
Fuck, that's really good. Okay, quick aside. Is it like genuinely, as Nashville residents, is it annoying all the bachelor party stuff? Okay, like you just like be at a bar and then 12 people come. Okay, it seems bad. And then the scooters are everywhere, right? Okay, cool.
Woo! Are you Nashvilleins? Nashvillians?
Villians or villains? Okay, that's good, because it'd be better like, the Nashvilleins are out.
What's a mob's called?
Though I gotta say, that would be an incredible name for the minor league baseball team. The Nashvilleins. Okay, so I'll go with whiskey. Let's see. We here invite silliness, kookiness. You heard? If you think elf-made wine should advance, make some noise. Okay. If you think
a lot of woo.
If you think fire whiskey should advance, make some noise. All right, elf-made wine going on and being the top drink. Look at it go.
That's the 5 seed.
Yeah. Okay, now we've got the sorting feast from book 1 or pumpkin pasties/pasties. What would you like to acrosticize?
I gotta be team pumpkin.
Okay, and then I'll do sorting. Sausages on rounds. Sausages on round tables. Ingesting nightly. Good.
All right, I'm gonna do the word pumpkin. All right. Pumpkin. Uggs. Magic.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin. Kisses in nighttime.
Okay. If you think the sorting hat feast from book 1 should advance, make some noise. Okay. If you think pumpkin pasties should advance, make some noise.
So close.
That's close. Let's try it in the reverse. If you think pumpkin pasties should advance, make some noise. If you think the sorting hat feast should advance, make some noise. Okay. Sorting hat feast. There we are. All right. We can now move on.
If it was October, that would have won.
Yeah, if this wasn't March, it'd be a whole new ball game. All right, so now in the candy section, we have pepper imps and we have fizzing whizbees. What would you like to acrosticize?
I'll do the fizzing whizbees.
Okay. What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do the word fizzing.
Fizzing. Cool. And then I'll do pepper for pepper imps.
Frick! I
2 Z words. Here you go, bud.
zoinks. Zoinks. I need great amounts of dental care.
Okay, so pepper.
This one's hard.
Pepper. Okay. Percolating, extrapolating, peppery puffs, emitting really hot fire. If you think fizzing whizbees should advance, make some noise. Ooh. If you think pepper imps should advance, make some noise. Okay. All right, pepper imps. All right. Yes, of course. We're in Spicy Town.
You watched the show Pepper Ann as a child, as a cartoon?
I knew of it just because it was Disney Channel, right?
Or Cartoon Network.
I just know the theme song, it was like, I know I can like sing it, but I'm going to butcher it if I actually...
In the theme song, that's the only thing I remember too.
There's
They
like
say she's
Pepper
too
Ann.
cool for 7th grade. That's all they say in the theme song.
Wow, I mean, that's impressive because 7th grade, worst year of my life. Hands down. Okay. Sweets. We've got McGonagall's biscuits or Honeyduke's chocolate.
Both so long.
We could do like Minerva or Lupin.
Yeah, I'll be team Honeydukes.
Okay. And I'll be Team McGonagall. What word will you be doing for the Honeyduke's chocolate?
I'm going to do Honeydukes.
Okay, then I'll do McGonagall. or I guess biscuit's quite long. I'll go with biscuit.
Yeah, is it you first?
Sure. Yeah. I went second last time. Okay, so biscuit. Okay. Breaking in somber chill times under intense tension. Sweets. Biscuits.
Wow. Happy objects, never ending. Yum. Wow, no words start with you.
You could be cool and just do you.
Oh yeah,
like you're
you're so
texting
right.
someone in
Like
the
I'm
year
too cool for
2006.
7th grade.
No, or like you have a phone plan like I did in 7th grade where you had to pay by the text, so you really had to get creative with minimizing letters because once you hit past 180, yoinks.
All right. So, do you kids ever sweets? I have a free candy band now on my Honeydukes thing.
If you think that McGonagall's biscuits should advance, make some noise. Okay. If you think Honeyduke's chocolate should advance, make some noise.
I think it's biscuits.
I think it's the biscuits.
By a hair.
By a hair. Okay. So now we are in to the Final Four. And Final Four gets very spicy. So they're breaking into the different categories. So this first Final Four matchup is between Elf-Made Wine and McGonagall's Biscuits. Now what we do for the Final Four is you have to present your argument in rhyming couplet form. So Johnny, would you like to make couplet or couplets plural if you're feeling especially spicy about Elf-Made Wine or McGonagall's Biscuits?
I'm going to do Elf-Made Wine because literally every word in the world rhymes with wine.
Okay, all right, have at it, and I'll do some biscuit stuff.
All right. We came to Nashville. We're here to dine. We run around being crazy, drinking moonshine. Man, all y'all in the crowd looking so fine. Don't know if it's me or that elf-made wine.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Just gave my bad teacher a bunch of shit. Standing up for my gang of misfits. I don't know in this school where I fit, but now, McGonagall, I'll have a biscuit. If you think that Elf-Made Wine should advance, make some noise. If you think that McGonagall's biscuit should advance, make some noise. Elf-Made Wine, baby! To the finals, as we all anticipated. All right, and now we are going to the Final Four on the other side. It is between the Sorting Hat Feast and Pepper Imps. What would you like to rhyme about?
I'll take the feast.
Okay, and I'll go with Pepper Imps. So I'll begin here. Had this candy that is quite spicy. Oh, I'm breathing fire. This could get quite dicey. Yeah, I feel that's pretty good. That sums it up.
Damn, look at this spread. There's nothing I want to eat least. What else do you expect from the old sorting hat feast?
All right, if you think peppermint should advance, make some noise. All right, looks like the sorting hat feast has advanced to the finals. Okay. All right, so we clearly must be maybe it's I don't know. We're appealing to like an older crowd here because the two things in the finals are wine and dinner as the best food when an entire bracket was candy and an entire bracket was like, wine or dinner. Okay.
Yeah, this finals is over by 7 p.m.
All right. So, for the final round, each Johnny and I will be defending something and we will be giving a 3-minute TED Talk arguing on behalf of one of these things. So, would you like to give a 3-minute TED Talk about why the best food is the Elf-made wine or why it is the sorting hat feast?
I've been team wine from the beginning.
Okay. Would you like to go first or second?
I'll go first.
All right.
Oh, there's a cord here. We're gonna not trip over it. Welcome to your Napa Valley tour. In this particular winery, we've got a special kind of wine. This isn't white wine. This isn't your traditional red wine. You're not going to go out into the fields and stomp on your little grapes and have a fun little time and pay way too much money for it. No. Here at this winery in Napa Valley, you're going to be drinking elf-made wine. Here's the thing about elf-made wine. It's better than any wine you've ever tasted. And it's like 22% alcohol, which is simply remarkable. Never mind the fact that the labor practices we use to make this wine are extremely questionable. Never mind that in the entire history of, consciousness, free labor has been extremely problematic. Never mind all that. Because you're going to drink the best 22% alcohol by volume wine that you've ever had in your life. And here's what's going to happen after you do that. You're going to get on your little bus and go to all your other little wineries in Napa Valley, and it's going to be fun, and you're going to pay too much money for it. And you're going to take a sip of that next wine, and you're going to say to yourself, I never want another wine for the rest of my life. Because no other wine has made me want to laugh, has made me want to cry, has made me want to think like elf-made wine. And so, we will be selling bottles at the end of the tour for the low, low price. Keep in mind, elf-made wine, laugh, cry, think. The low, low price of $98.
Galleons.
This is Napa.
Oh, right. You're right.
$98 for a bottle. And I'm not talking about a full bottle of wine. I'm talking about those little bottles that they give you that are kind of a scam. But for $98, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry, you're going to think with elf-made wine. And so go on your little wine tours. We'll see you tomorrow and the next day when you realize the rest of Napa is worthless compared to questionable labor practice made wine.
Thank you for the TED Talk.
It's more of a sales pitch.
Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Imagine that you are an 11-year-old child. You've received a letter in the mail telling you that you have been accepted into a school that you did not apply for. You've asked your parents, what is this? And they have informed you, you are a wizard, _. You make your way to the school. You're having your very first experience there. You go into this incredible, fantastic cafeteria that's got just an incredible ceiling with floating candles and this magical design. And you sit down with a bunch of other 11-year-old strangers. You're just starting to meet friends and make new friends and meet new people. And you sit down looking at golden plateware all in the tables. And then all of the sudden, after Dumbledore's given a pretty bad dad joke where he just says words, incredibly low effort, food just appears on all of the plates. And it's not just one type of food. It's not like your regular cafeteria that you've been used to at your school, where it's just a microwaved pizza or cold whatever or meatloaf surprise. You have every food that you could ever desire at your disposal. You've got all the different types of meat. You've got roast beef and sausages and all this stuff, but then also there's Yorkshire pudding, whatever that is. And there's potatoes, 2 different types, and then also fries, so 3 different types. You've got all the different sides, you've got all the different meats, then desserts come, and no matter how much food you have, it constantly, magically refills on these plates. So not only are you having the best day of your life ever, you're eating the best food of your life, and not only are you doing that, but it's all you can eat food, and you didn't have to pay for it. So you're already getting free food, all you can eat food, good tasting food, a wide variety of food, and you're eating it on gold plates. It's perfect. It is the perfect meal to wrap up the perfect day that you have just had. And when you truly think of being welcomed to Hogwarts, you think back to that very first meal you had, and you just associate the good memories that you had with the good food, because when you're here, you're family.
I was going to cry until you said that last part.
Well, it is a comedy podcast, so you got to throw it in there somewhere. Okay. So you've heard both of the TED Talks. If you believe that the greatest food, based on the arguments here in the wizarding world, is elf-made wine, make some noise. If you think that it is the Sorting Hat Feast from Book 1, make some noise. All right. We have a winner. Woo. The best food in the wizarding world. It was all downhill after page 20, whatever.
It's because she only described things as that.
The one time, and she was like, I can never do this again, ever. Too much work. Okay, well, we've done it. Thank you for helping us out. We've determined what the best food in the wizarding world is. And now we've got some time to answer questions. The first question that we have come in here is from Trey, who is bearded man in the front row who likes mead. Very thankful. He asks, have you ever played the Quidditch board game? We found it at Universal when we got engaged there, but we ended up not buying it. So I've played the Quidditch dice game. Is that different from the board game? Oh, so the Quidditch dice game that I played because Kelly's siblings had it, and it was like tucked away in a game closet in their house, was very bad. It's like a graph that you get to play. So basically, you either are Harry Potter or some seeker that isn't actually in the book, or maybe you're Marcus Flint. You might be Marcus Flint, but there is a Slytherin seeker and a Gryffindor seeker, and you're on this like grid type thing, and then you roll 2 die, and then you can move like up and over depending on what your roll is. And then there's the quaffle, and then there's the snitch. And much like the actual sport, it's a poorly designed game because all you have to do is like roll a good-ish roll once when you're kind of close to the snitch, and then you win. So I played against, I don't know if I played against Kelly or her sister Erin, but I won in like 2 rolls. It was incredibly boring. It was very cumbersome to set all the game up because it's like a plastic thing and then a little like 4 plastic prongs and then a thing on top, and then you have to put all the pieces, and then you get all the dice and you set it all up in the scoreboard thing, and then 2 rolls later I caught the snitch, and that was it. So I don't recommend buying it. You made a good decision to not buy it. Yeah, it would have been a waste of fucking money. So I have played it. It sucks ass.
I thought you were gonna say that like, you know, you play like 11 hands per game or something, and the first 10 just literally matter 0, and then the 11th hand is like what decides the game, because that would be a Quidditch board game.
Now, I have played, the one game that I will recommend is Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle is very good. It's a deck building game, so if you've ever played Dominion, it's very good, but it is collaborative. And I love collaborative games, especially for me and Kelly, because we're both incredibly competitive people. And when we play head-to-head games, we get mad at each other, and it's not great. So that's a very fun one. You can play up to 4 players, super fun. It does take a really long time, which like if you like those board games that take a long time, cool. If you don't, maybe steer clear. But it's very fun. It's got a lot of good replay value to it. It's a good time. I recommend that one.
Yeah, my fiance and I played that game, and we put one of the movies on in the background, and then like realized that we had gotten through a movie and a half by the time we finished.
Yeah, it really flies, and you look down like, oh, we've been playing this game for 3 hours. My goodness. But yes, that's a good one. I recommend that one. Okay, this one comes from Kelly, my wife. She emails, and the subject is, "It's your wife," in all caps, so gotta open it. Kelly says, quote, "Inspired by me watching Ted Lasso all night, would you rather be a panda or a lion?" This is an iconic question early on in the Ted Lasso series, which is a great television show that you should all be watching. They're not paying me, but Apple, come on, give me some money. I feel like I would pick lion because pandas are endangered and they only eat bamboo and they're bad at sex. So I feel like I wouldn't want to be those things.
I would definitely want to be a lion so that I could get in a turf war with my uncle over the direction of the pride lands.
Right.
Take maybe like 10 years in the middle to go find myself and hang out with some
and get really hot.
And get really hot and get voiced by Matthew Broderick, who was Ferris Bueller.
Yes, exactly. The thing, I saw this on Twitter this morning, and it did make me raise a lot of questions because, okay, I haven't had to do this in a while. It's Jeremy Irons, not Jason Isaacs. Jeremy Irons, who does the voice of Scar, incredible. But someone did pose the question on Twitter, why does Scar have a British accent? Like, did he study abroad and then come back with a new accent? Like, this is who I am now. I'm British.
Yeah, there's some like dark colonization implications involved there.
Oh, yeah, yay. Yay. And on that note, we'll move on to another question.
That's not where I expected that one to go.
Okay, this one comes from Grant Sohn, all caps, Nashville question, bro. The question is, when are you moving to Nashville? The answer is never. I mean, maybe. I mean, Johnny and I were saying this as we were walking around. Like, Nashville is a place that not necessarily I like plan to be, but I would be completely okay with if it was some sort of like, I don't know, if I was in a job that could like relocate me and I had to live here. It seems like a wonderful, nice town with, I mean, good food, good music, good entertainment and stuff. Feels like a great place. So I don't hate it, but I don't think I'll be moving here.
I sort of imagine living here as like, you wake up and it's really nice and the sun is rising and you go downstairs and you make your coffee and the harp is playing in the background and you do a big yawn and then from outside your window you hear, woo!
The one thing I do have to say that was a huge plus, when I was here last time for a podcast convention, we all split a big Airbnb and it had a porch with rocking chairs on it and we got whiskey and every night me, Brandon Grugel, and Eric Schneider drank whiskey on a porch, and obviously the whiskey was better because it's from Tennessee and you guys know what you're doing, but also whiskey on a porch tastes so fucking good. The power of a porch that just chemically makes the whiskey taste better is unparalleled.
My other Nashville connection is in the 4th grade, I came here with my mother and we ate at the Pancake Pantry and we loved it so much that we came back in the 6th grade only for the purpose of eating at the Pancake Pantry. But on the way down, my tummy started hurting. And the next morning when it was time to go to the Pancake Pantry, I couldn't go. And my mom was like, fine, you want to go to the doctor instead? And I was like, yes, please. And so we went to the doctor and it turned out I had a little thing called appendicitis. So we went to the hospital and I had surgery here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I hung out here for like 3 or 4 days while I was in 6th grade. And then when I was all better, we went to the Pancake Pantry and it was a Saturday morning at 10 a.m. and they let me skip the line because I came there after my surgery.
Amazing. So good. You love that. Okay, this question I've opened because the subject was, are you from Tennessee? Because I am, wink. Great. Just as a Tennessee question, do you guys get that a lot and is it really annoying? Okay, cool. As someone who's been called Mike Sherbert his whole life, I'm sorry with people doing the lowest hanging fruit joke to you. So Thomas asks, it's not really a question, but I like your bars, Shoobs. Oh, thank you very much. Also, can you do the Snape voice? No. Okay, Claire has a question. Okay, so F, marry, kill for Snape, Slughorn, and Lucius Malfoy. All right. I'm obviously going to marry Lucius Malfoy because I would have great hair and fashion and sass advice for the rest of my life. I would probably kill... Yeah, I'd kill Snape because if I made love to him, he would then do a whole thing where he hated my kid and held on to the grudge forever. Be like, why don't you ever call me? So
where'd you get that idea?
I'll kill Snape and I'll get it with Slughorn and then he'll just, I guess, brag forever.
I was going to say, Slughorn is like Mr. Kiss and Tell. It's the only thing.
But like if I do a good job, then he'll be like, you know that Mike Schubert, really good at sex. Definitely not a panda. So I think that can work well.
More of a lion.
Yeah. What about you, Johnny?
Well, I would probably fuck Lucius Malfoy of the 3. Mostly because I feel like it would be very transactional and I don't really want to fuck any 3 of them. I would probably marry Snape because if we got married, he couldn't then be scorned by me and hold a grudge for a million years and take it out on my future child.
Sure.
And then I guess I would kill Slughorn because I don't want him to brag about being married or having fucked me.
Okay. So, this one is it, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Is it Mura? Cool, yay! Mura has she Nashville nanigans, or she Nashville niggins. What would your chocolate frog card say? Oh, I like this. Chocolate frog card. I feel like...
Have you ever gotten this one before? That is such a good
question. No,
it's
a really good question. I've never received
this.
They just kind of give you like a brief recap of like the person's whole deal, right? So I feel like it would be something to the effect of like, Mike Schubert studied engineering in college so that one day he could become a professional person that makes fun of children's books. And then it'd be some, I have to write my bio a lot for different things, different like podcast convention stuff. So it would be something to, like when not podcasting, Mike can be found like rooting for the Yankees to win, praying that the Knicks don't lose, cooking, hiking, and playing pickup basketball and taking it too seriously, as well as teaching people how to Dougie. That would be my chocolate frog.
I mean, mine would probably be like Johnny was born in St. Louis and survived a brush with death in the 6th grade when he went to Nashville and tried to use the Pancake Pantry. He can be found playing Ultimate Frisbee and having a job that's too boring to talk about on stage.
Okay, this next question comes from Nita, who asks, which character in Harry Potter do you most resonate with? I feel like for me, I don't know if it's resonate, but I definitely aspire for Ginny because I feel like she's got the right balance of like sassiness, but also being funny, but also like being serious when time calls. And I know I'm like a big old laugh 'em, goof 'em ups guy, but I try to be a good friend when the time calls for it as well. But I definitely aspire for knowing, like she very much knows reads the situation and knows what it calls for. And I've always kind of viewed myself as an adaptable type person. So that's what I would think who I resonate most with, or at least like the target I aim for. What about you?
I think I probably resonate most with Harry because I'm the protagonist of my life and it's all about me. No. That's really hard. That's a really hard question. I think probably someone like George who like has a lot of depth to him, but likes to keep it light. I don't know. I don't have a good answer. I have to think.
No, I think that's good because you're a fun goof 'em ups guy. But of the Fred George, I feel like leans more towards the more sentimental, like powerful quotes, and Fred is more of like getting the zingers in there. And I would also attest to your friendship and being a swell chap when things get tough.
That was so sweet.
Yeah, you're a good guy. There's also a follow-up question. Which professor would you want to be taught by? I would want to be taught by Professor Vector so I can learn what the fuck arithmancy is. What about you?
I know he was like sort of a supervillain impersonating a professor, but I feel like getting taught by Barty Crouch Jr. would be pretty sick. His class seemed awesome.
Well, even though he was a bad guy, he was
great teacher.
So dedicated. Like the Daniel Day-Lewis of the wizarding world, just like, I am method acting and I'm committed to this bit and I'm going to teach these children everything. Like, I feel like, especially if he taught acting at if he was in charge of the theater department at Hogwarts, they'd put on incredible performances and pantomimes.
With poorly written plots, but cool special effects on stage. Yeah. Tweet at Chris Child.
Oh my goodness. Okay, this one, all caps from Julie. Nashville live hot chicken. Great. Where did you get your food this morning? Insta story looks so good. We went to, it was
Biscuit Love.
Biscuit Love. We tried to go to Pancake Pantry and the line was quite long and it was filled with lots of people and I'm still slightly uncomfortable with, the pandemic. So I decided let's eat at this place that has nice outdoor dining and biscuits and gravy. So we went there and it was quite tasty. We ordered 2 things that we thought sounded good, and then we cut them in half and scooped them onto each other's plates, and it was very delicious. And then we posted up there and did some work, Johnny being a big work meeting boy, and me reading very legal PDF copies of the Harry Potter books and perfecting the notes for this live show.
I also got something at Biscuit Love called brown sugar lemonade, which I don't know if that's a Tennessee thing or not, but it was fucking incredible.
Okay, then Julie also asks, what squad costume do you think Harry, Ron, and Hermione would rock best for Halloween? That is very good. I do think that they could do the classic thing when you have 5 friends, which is dress up as the Mystery Inc. Scooby Doo gang. I feel like that could work because Hermione could pull off a good Velma, and I think...
You're in the pocket of big mystery, Mr. Meddling Adults.
Yes, the charity podcast. They're paying me. Oh no, we're raising more money. I feel like Ron could be a good Fred, like with the floofy red hair, could look good in an ascot. Harry's got that big gross bowl cut that he could be Shaggy for sure. And then like Luna would love to be Scooby. Like she would knit a costume herself, like her big hat, and it would be fantastic. They'd have to get, I don't know, like Pansy Parkinson to be Daphne or whatever. Though late game Daphne in What's New Scooby-Doo, they turn Daphne into an awesome character instead of just the damsel in distress. And she has constant things where people think less of her because she's this pretty girl or whatever. They think she's just this vapid, airhead. And she always has like really smart moments and really brave moments. Love the rewrite that they've done there. Also, the theme song to What's New Scooby-Doo, mwah. It's so good. My goodness.
Squad costume. I would like to see Harry as Tony Stark, Ron as Captain America, and Hermione as Thor.
Oh, we've got an email from Gabe Baker, who I know from college. Gabe, hello! If you could replace the assigned owl for any type of flying creature, real or mythical, what would it be and why? Oh, so like for messaging purpose instead of owls, it's something else? That would be cool. I feel like Phoenix is a bad idea because the letters would catch on fire, so not that. Let's see. This is tough. Birds.
This is like a really loose definition of a creature.
Sure.
But I'm going to keep with my little MCU theme here because I'm watching it for the first time. The dude in Guardians of the Galaxy with his little whistle that flies around, that would be my message delivery methodology.
That's pretty good, the little arrow, yes. Let me think. I'm trying to think of like a fun flying creature. Maybe this would be cool if they had dodos, because then in the universe, it's not that dodos went extinct. It's just that people can't, muggles can't see them anymore because they're actually magical.
Can't they not fly though? Isn't that like their thing?
Yeah, they'd waddle around. It would be fun. But yeah, if you had to go with like a flying one, I've always thought, flying squirrels would be cool. Just like gliding in and then dropping off some letters. I think that would be a very fun time. Okay, let's see. Erin, the subject, Nashville, baby. If you were a kitchen utensil, which would you be? Ooh, if I was a kitchen utensil, which would I be? I want to go for a very versatile utensil because Little spoon. Oh, that's very good. If I was a kitchen utensil, I feel like, it's hard not to pick the stove because the stove is like, it's there, it can do a lot, it's essential, it's hot, it's very good. I feel like I personally love the stove. And today I was very upset because... utensil. Sorry, I was thinking of appliance. A kitchen utensil. Okay, in that case, thank you, Johnny. I'm a smart person with great reading comprehension skills. A utensil? Of what utensil do I use the most? I guess just like, no matter how many knives you have, you always have your favorite knife. I feel like I would be your favorite knife because you always find a way to be like, this knife, like Kelly's favorite knife before I got her a new one was a serrated knife. And she would use it for things that didn't warrant a serrated knife. Like she would be like chopping vegetables, which you're not supposed to, like serrated knife is like tomatoes and that's it. Or meat. And she would just use it all the time because she really liked it. But you always find the way to shoehorn. You'd be like, oh, let me, revisionist history. This is why this knife is the best case. So I would probably be just like your favorite knife because like, yeah, I'm sharp. And like, you always find a way to be like, yeah, this could work. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Are you sharp, Mr. Appliance?
According to my SATs and other things, yes, I am. David asks, let's see. Oh, the subject is Nashville. We pay too much in rent. Oh no, gentrification. David asks, what would your howlers scream at you? Oh, if I was getting yelled at for something, what would I get yelled at?
So my mom has sent me like a million voicemail howlers about the fact that my car tags are expired.
Ooh.
And she tells me every day that my car tags are expired and to go get it fixed. And I still haven't done it. And it's like literally a howler every day in my voicemail.
Okay.
It's devastating.
I don't know that I've gotten any angry howlers from my parents because I had this cool trick where I was the younger of two siblings. So I saw all of the things my sister did that would anger my parents. And then I would take mental notes of, Megan got in trouble for this. Don't do this. Megan did this, and then Megan did not get yelled at. Do that. So I didn't get yelled at a lot by my parents because I already saw it happen. But as far as like things, I'm trying to think if there's anything like I do often that Kelly rightfully yells at me for. Okay, I guess what it would be is I do a lot of the dishwashing in our house, but I'm also very good at breaking dishes while washing dishes because I'll, be doing it and get soapy hands and then slip and then like drop a plate on top of a glass and then the glass breaks or whatever. So I feel like my howler would be breaking stuff. And I also find a way to break Kelly's things way more often than my things. And when I do break Kelly's things, they are irreparable. Like I've broken one of my mugs before, but it was just the handle. Very easy to hot glue back together. I once broke Kelly's watering thing for our plants, and it fell in this way where it shattered into thousands of pieces. And some where we were able to hot glue back together, but something straight up just turned to dust.
Oh,
and
it was
super glue, not hot glue. Sorry,
I was going
to
say, I haven't used a hot glue gun in 2 decades.
We do also have a hot glue gun because my wife is an architect, but we super glued it all back together. I broke her favorite BTS mug, just right down the middle, and now we put it back together and it has plants in it, so it's okay. But yeah, I feel like my howler would be just for breaking another one of Kelly's prized glassware, dishware items. It's truly unfair. And even recently, we have 4 small plates, and I had broken one. I chipped the end of it, and it was from Crate and Barrel, and the plate is $4, but shipping is $5. And we would never do it because it's just I cannot justify spending more on shipping than an item, but we don't need anything else. So then for Christmas one year, Kelly's mom, this past Christmas, got us the plate. And then in the month of February, I broke it. And now we're back down to 3 plates. So it's not easy being dishwashing boy Mike Schubert. Okay, this one's from Marinda. Says, what professors do you think are hooking up after hours at Hogwarts? Fantastic. Okay, is this a phenomenon that ever happened to your high school? Because there were 2 teachers in my high school that were definitely fucking, that were not together. We did have a set of married people that were also professors, and I'm sure they were doing it as well.
Hope so, for their sake.
But Coach Labus, the track coach, and Miss Rosado, the Latin teacher, were certainly having an affair.
I don't think that we had. I don't know what kind of grassy ass high school you were going to.
It was not very dramatic. I went to an all boys Catholic high school, no drama at all, which was actually great.
I don't actually think this. It would just be fun that Hagrid and Flitwick are fucking after hours.
Okay. I mean, the real answer is Sprout and Hooch. That is certainly the correct answer here. They're definitely a thing. I don't know if anyone else. It would be fun if Binns was hooking up with one of the other ghosts.
Oh.
That could be cool. The Gray Lady and Binns get together. He's really boring, but he's a freak in the sheets. That could be fun stuff. He saves all his energy for late at night, not the classroom.
Cadogan and the fat lady in the paintings.
Oh, the paintings. Yeah, they definitely had a little bit of a thing. Yeah. All right, great. Well, that's a very fun note to end on, I think, for the Q&A. Thank you all so much for the questions. Just first off, thank you all so much for coming out. Did anyone come from not Nashville? Did anyone drive really far? Where'd you drive from? Somerset, Kentucky. Okay. How many hours of drive is that? About 3. Okay. Did anyone come from farther than a 3-hour drive? Where did you come from? Okay, cool. That's super far. Can anyone beat 6 hours? Okay, you have won, and you will get a I Took Latin in High School notebook for coming very far. So here is this for you. Thank you so much for coming. Sorry that you probably bought tickets and then we announced we're doing a live show in your state of Indiana. So if you want to drive not 6 hours and come back, come through. It'll be fun. But seriously, thank you all so much for coming. This is fantastic. This is the first live show that we've done since September or October. So it's been quite a while, and it feels really nice to be back and to be doing this and to be doing it with such a lovely crowd of nice, friendly folks. So thank you all so much for having us. And thanks to everyone here at the High Watt. Everyone's been fantastic from, setting up to all of the sound work. Everything's been really cool. Everyone here is really nice. So yeah, thank you all so much for coming through and deciding to come to this instead of Eric Nam's incredibly packed show in the same building. Eric Nam, though, who Kelly loves because another K-pop guy that's friends with BTS. So thank you for choosing me over K-pop superstar sensation Eric Nam. But again, thank you all so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. This was a very fun show. And, until we cross paths again and I do another show in Nashville or something, or we go to a Nashvilleins minor league baseball game, as they say in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Wizard on! Thanks so much for coming out!
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Potterless. Potterless is created by Mike Schubert. It is hosted by Mike Schubert. It is edited by Mike Schubert. It is produced by Mike Schubert. The social media is by Mike Schubert. The website is by Mike Schubert. All this stuff is Mike Schubert, but the music is by Bettina Campomanes. It was produced by a whole bunch of people who helped out over the years at Patreon. And another reminder, you can get access to every single thing we ever posted on the Potterless Patreon, from bonus episodes to Q&As to other video things to audio things to my notes. All that lives for just $4 a month at patreon.com/Potterless. And if you want to just kind of stay up to date with what I'm doing in the podcasting world, whether that's my new podcasts or if I'm coming on tour to a city near you, or if we're doing digital live shows, all that kind of stuff, you can go to my website, which is schub.es. And you can also follow me on social media. I'm at Shub17, SCHUBES17 on Twitter and Instagram. I've also recently been doing a Dungeons and Dragons stream, which has been really fun. So if you go to 20 to midnight, you can go to 20tomidnight.com or twitch.tv/20 to midnight, or you can search for 20 to midnight on YouTube and you can watch all of the replays of stuff that we've got going on there. It is a 5e D&D stream that I do with Gabrielle Urbina and Beth Eyre and Emma Sherjarko, and it is super fun, and the story is gripping, and it's the highlight of my every other Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So you can watch that, you can watch the replays of it. It's been really fun. We just are getting into our first arc, really, and it's a good time. I think technically it's the second arc, but it's still very early in the story, so it's not too late. So you should go check that out as well. But thank you for listening to this episode, and thank you for staying subscribed. I'm going to keep posting stuff to the feed. I've got a whole bunch of live shows stocked up, and I just want to keep posting them to the feed every now and then. So stay subscribed. It's lots of fun content coming your way in the future. And if you want something on a more regular basis, you can check out my other podcasts. But thank you so much for listening. And until we cross paths again, as they say in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Wizard on!